and happy Saturday. Welcome to the news that didn't make the news. And bear with me one moment. If it's not one thing to jump here, it's another. Hello and happy Saturday. There's so much here to talk about. Give you guys a second to show up here. And give me a second to chill out. We had yet another funeral today where this one was at least a celebration of life. But if anybody needs help with any party planning or any weddings, feel free to hit me up because I'm over the funerals for sure. I have this little apparatus on the back of my phone with shungite that Shannon gave me, and it makes it really difficult to keep my phone in the stand. And it looks really incredibly dark, so bear with me 1 second. There we go. I don't know what the deal is with my phone, but I have to keep changing and resetting the light. And it keeps dimming the light and making the light different. Whoa. That was like the exoskeleton Tina. Okay, let's turn the crime light down a little bit. Hello and welcome to Saturday night. I had to put some background music. I've been prolonging making this video for the last 4 days because there's so much stuff rising to the surface. And as you know, in the last umpteen videos I've talked about everything that was going to be rising to the surface. So we had a solar eclipse on October 14th, and today is the lunar eclipse, both in Libra, bringing through a lot of energy, a lot of radical change, in case you can't feel it. It's also brought many other things here with it as well, in case you're feeling that. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about, and I've been procrastinating this video for the last 4 or 5 days. So let me start with the video that I've kind of told you guys about a couple times. I don't know if you don't get notified when I make a short, but I had made a short video, and I believe it was October 4th or 5th, and it was just a couple of words. So that was it. It really literally was, quite literally, a short. And it said that I am in knowing that we are going to have some massive solar blast in the next 3 weeks. So that happened. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where we are right now in the time of miracles and how to invite yourself to be on the same frequency as that miraculous healing so that you can change your life. Because eclipses are about nothing but change. So that's the gift that it brings to us. I also want to talk about the fact that the solar energy does not affect everybody on planet Earth in a human body the same, because not all humans are the same. Where to start with this one? This is the time of tapping into miracles, but in order to tap into miracles, we must be in alignment with our intuition and our heart, and not trying to force the universe to give us something that we don't need. Hello, Andrea Grace, and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. I'm going to put my pen away so that I stop playing with it. It's a bad, nervous habit of mine. So I want to start by saying this. This is a time for miracles, for anybody that is I'm not even sure how to put this. I want to say in an organic body with organic DNA that is on the path to evolutionary expanded consciousness from our cells, every aspect of our mind, body, and spirit connection. I'm not sure how long ago this happened, but there was a group of, we'll call them interdimensionals or star beings, that decided things would more likely go in their way if they created a different kind of human. So if we understand the concept of spirit or higher self, we have a soul, and every time we reincarnate, we have a connection to that soul. Doesn't mean, as I've been speaking a lot about recently, that we have the connection to the memory of those lifetimes or that information, but we still have the connection as what they call spirit or higher self. So your soul is kind of residing in the ethers, for lack of a better word, or it had for a millennium, and it resides there in peace and harmony, collecting the information, the wisdom that is stored within the Akashic record and within the cells of your body. So it has been there in the ethers since the beginning of time, since the beginning of you. And how much we tap into that, or whether we tap into that, is a choice that we make. And we don't all always make that choice. But there was a faction, we can call them star beings, interdimensional beings. There are a lot of terms that I just don't like to use anymore. But this group of beings decided that things were more likely to go their way on the planet if there were human beings that looked like human beings, that talked like human beings, and had the same 3D programming that human beings had, but they do not have the connection to the source energy of their soul. So these beings have not, hopefully this will make sense, but they have not reincarnated. So there were a group of people that decided to make a group of people that could not connect to source or any kind of soul frequency, right? So that means they are not capable of expanded consciousness. Now, you've lived with these people, you've worked with these people, you've probably dated these people, and most people would not even know the difference between me and someone else that's not connected to source or to the soul that comes in every lifetime and just keeps connecting over and over again to the wisdom, to the harmony, and to the peace. If you are in harmony and peace, you will connect with that. These beings cannot connect with that, no matter what, okay? But most people will not notice because this different breed of people, I will call them non-player characters or NPCs. I'm sure you've heard that. But a lot of times people are confused about that, what that means. Now, you might go to a baby shower and this person that does not have a connection to their soul, past soul wisdom, does not have a connection to source, and most people wouldn't notice because people have a tendency to think if you don't have a soul or a connection to God, then you're an evil person, right? And that a lot of that comes from the religious stance, because then that makes it even harder for us to notice these NPCs. So let's say you're at a baby shower. They have that same human programming. So of course they're going to be happy that you're getting married. They're going to be ecstatic that you're engaged, or they're happy that you're having a baby, and they're perfectly capable of having babies as well. But what they are not capable of is connecting to a soul. Okay, so every human being originally comes as a body, mind, spirit connection, meaning you have a soul. When you reincarnate, you just keep connecting and expanding those parts and pieces of the soul, gaining more wisdom and learning more lessons. That's why a lot of times you'll hear people say that they're connected to a soul group or connected to fractals of the self. And what they mean by that is that same soul that you're connected to every single time, even though you come in with a different body and come in as a different gender, different race, everything, but you're still connected to that soul. These people are not affected the way the rest of humanity is by anything. So one of the reasons that I'm talking about this is because so many of us feel like it is our job on planet Earth to wake everyone up. But if you know some people don't have a connection to source or connection to a kind of soul tribe or soul family, or they don't have a soul connection, it is impossible for them to ever understand truly what you're saying. Now, if you're working with these people, or maybe they're your friends, acquaintances, or neighbors, you might not notice, because again, religion teaches us that someone that doesn't have a soul is evil, right? It's not that they're evil, it's just that they're not angelic either. Every natural, organic human being is an angel, is a light body. But there was a group of beings, a very large group of beings on this planet that came in, that were created to look like us, to talk like us, to run on the same 3D program as us. Now, we were all programmed as well, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we weren't. But we can override and work through that program by connecting our mind, body, and spirit through meditation, exercise, giving, just being kind, loving person. And these people can be kind and loving as well. But it's not coming from a soul. I'm sure you've all met people and have had conversations with people, and you're like, they're saying all the right things, like, but there's not anybody home kind of feeling, right? Because there's no soul. And you can even look these people very deeply in the eyes, and when you do, you will get nothing, and they will seem to be confused, because looking in the eyes is supposed to be a connection to the soul. And there are many, many thousands of people on the planet that do not have a connection. It's not that they're evil or have been disconnected from their soul. They were simply made in an inorganic way, where they never had a soul or were never connected to source to begin with. I'm telling you this for two reasons. One, these people are not affected by the solar energy, by the lunar eclipses or solar eclipses or master changes. And now I'm not saying that astrology doesn't affect them, right? Because they have a birth chart. So, but hopefully what I'm saying is making sense. There's no connection to soul. It's only a program. Okay. And some people act like this and live like this by choice. There is the connection to soul, or the opportunity to connect to soul, and they simply choose not to. And so the two reasons I'm telling you this is, one, they are not going to be affected by the shift in consciousness on the planet. It's not possible, because without a connection to source, or source really is a connection to all that was ever created as far as a human soul. So if you have no connection to source, you have no connection to soul. Not your own soul, not a soul group, not a soul tribe, not the soul of source, not anything. And so when dealing with his people and having so many people on the planet trying to wake these people up, they are literally running on a program, right? So the body looks the same, they walk and talk the same that we do. But without that connection to source, there is no opportunity to connect to wisdom, to shift consciousness, to expand, or have the DNA. So it's more like a synthetic DNA is kind of the only way that I know to say this. So our soul connection is in the ether, and some humans look like us, walk like us, talk like us. If they have surgery, they're just like us on the inside. But etherically, they do not have a soul connection to that ether. They simply run on a 3D program. So if you're trying to wake one of these people up, that's not ever going to happen. You cannot give them something that they never had to begin with. Now, I'm not simply telling you to treat people any differently. We should treat people very openly and lovingly, and be very forthright and honest. But when you get the deer in headlights, know when to reserve your energy for yourself, is why I'm telling you this. If you're spending a lot of time simply trying to wake people up, and sometimes when I say this to people are then respond to me, I'm not trying to wake them up, I'm just trying to plant a seed. Okay? But that's like me walking over to my computer. If you had the ancient computers, which are the crystal skulls, you could talk to that crystal skull, you could program it, you could deprogram it, you could do anything you wanted to it. But our computers are just made off of a variation with some bit of quartz in there that they figured out how to do it. But that again is an inorganic version of the crystal skulls. So when I say, if you're trying to wake everybody up you come in contact with, and I tell you it's not possible because there's too many NPCs out there, and then you tell me, well, I'm just dropping seeds. That's like me going over to my computer and dropping tomato seeds on the keyboard. What is my computer going to do with tomato seeds on the keyboard? It has no connection to the soul or the sun. It has no water. It has no dirt. So what you're trying to do by waking up people that are NPCs is the equivalent of me tossing tomato seeds on my keyboard and expecting to have, a harvest of tomatoes. It's not possible. These people also, if you say, wow, the energy is really strong today, or I feel nervous, or I feel this, they're not going to respond. They don't have a response to that because that soul connection to you, to your own ancient soul, to the ancient soul tribes of this planet, to all the other planets we came from before, they don't have that connection, okay? So you could put a whole burpee seed catalog and drop it at their feet. It's never going to get you anywhere. I'm telling you that for two reasons. With the intensity of the energy, the way it is now, we need to really be observant of who needs our energy or who wants our energy and who deserves our energy, and where that energy output is it just an energy output where there's never anything in return. Now, I'm not suggesting that we help people only to be helped in return. What I'm telling you is the intensity of this energy now needs to be reserved for the people that are open, awake, that are looking at you, that care about you, that want to be in your life, not the people that don't have the time or the energy or the connection to any kind of soul, any kind of ancient soul, right? And there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of NPCs on this planet. So I wanted you to be aware of that, just because with the intensity of this energy, save your energy to work with those people that can reciprocate, that can help you, who can also, that you can help, and they can also help you. And if we're giving a ton of energy out where it's not reciprocated, we don't have the energy to assist the people that really need it. And there's a huge amount of people on the planet right now that really need it. This is a time of miracles, but in order to be in alignment with the frequency of miracles, we have to say goodbye to parts and pieces of ourself that we used to be when they are no longer pleasing to us. And it's as simple as that. I want to briefly talk to you because I have talked about this in, I think, probably the last 2 or 3 videos. And I also made a short video around October 4th or 5th telling you that there was going to be something massive. And I said I thought it was coming from the galactic center, but anything that comes to the galactic center before it comes to us, it needs a portal to go through. And in our galaxy, that portal is our sun. And so what I said was, this is going to be the biggest thing we've ever seen. And it's going to come through the sun, and it's going to take about 3 weeks. So that was right around October 4th that I made that video, and I've talked about that in subsequent videos. So I got a notification on my phone on October 19th, and I don't know the source of it, but I'm going to put it here down in the description box sometime tomorrow after this video is processing. Unfortunately, if you don't get in here before it switches back over to private, you have to wait till tomorrow until it processes. That does not happen on my computer, but I'm not going to make any more hour videos on my computer that I have to turn around and trash the next day because you guys can't hear me because the video is just absolutely inaudible. When information comes from NASA or any kind of scientific paper, writing, wherever the inception point of that information comes through on a scientific or quantum physics level, I can read that article and tell you what part of that is the truth and what part of that is a lie. So I will pin this tomorrow after it processes. Hopefully I can make that happen. Now, I said 3 weeks from October 4th, and so we were at October 19th, so that was just about 2 weeks. The parts of this article that I'm going to tell you about are the parts of it that are true. And I've noticed with any of these, whether it's NASA or anyone, the information is usually the first 2 or 3 sentences, kind of as a rule of thumb, is the truth, and usually everything else is kind of a backhanded or bass-ass backward hole digging. Now, most people probably wouldn't know that unless you're a quantum physicist, and maybe some of those people are a little bit confused and perplexed by the information that was put out. But here's a part of the article that I'm going to tell you that is true. October 19th, a mysterious blast of radio waves, the most distant and the most energetic ever observed on Earth, lasted less than a millisecond. In that fraction of a moment, these radio wave bursts released the equivalent of 30 years worth of solar emissions. The most distant and energetic radio waves ever recorded on planet Earth happened 2 weeks after I told you that it would. It lasted less than a millisecond, but in that fraction of the moment, this is really important. It released the equivalent of 30 years worth of solar activity. Okay, so why I started with NPCs is NPCs are not going to be consciously affected by this. Now, doesn't mean they won't physically be affected by it. So let's say you have an NPC, like I said, same organs, same functions as the rest of us, right? So if you have an NPC and that person's, weighs 400 pounds and doesn't exercise and is living off fast food and they have a heart condition, yes, that person could have heart attack or any kind of physically related illness, death, whatever from this. So when I'm saying there's no source or no soul connection, there is no chance for an upgraded DNA or an expanded consciousness, and it's just not possible. I'm not saying this to be, rude, but the designers of these humans, this type of human, was only interested in mass producing a body that only ran on the 3D template because there was never a chance that they would say, fuck it, I'm not going to work this job anymore. I'm not going to stay in an unhappy lappy. They're never going to do that. They're going to keep on doing that. So, the NPC will be affected if they are physically unhealthy in a giant way, just like many other people are very affected by these solar storms, these energetic frequency waves, these EMFs. And I said, when I made that video on October 4th, that this was going to be organic. It was not going to be anything man-made. It was not going to be, anything from cell towers or whatever the things that they were saying it was going to be. I told you then, they're trying to counteract what's coming in. They wanted to do it before this energy came in. I heard it. Okay, that's how I knew it was coming. I heard it and I saw it, and I saw it coming through the sun. And I'm not here to say I said this was going to happen and then therefore it happened, because Don actually got a hold of me and said, you need to start telling people that I said this and then this happened. And the reason I'm telling you these things is to give you a heads up. Because, so first of all, when I hear something, I feel it within myself, within the whole thing, the body, mind, spirit connection. I see when I experience it. So when I experienced it on October 4th, October 5th, whatever day, that's when I had felt the symptoms of it. Whenever I align with what's coming in, regardless of what day it comes to Earth, that's when I experience it. That's the biggest reason I make videos, to tell you this happened in 2 days or 2 weeks or sometime within the next 3 months. This is going to happen to you. And I'm telling you that so that you know, and that so you can prepare. And I'm always telling you like how I felt and what I did and whatever. So that's why I'm telling you, not just say like I told you, right? I don't come back here, and this is the first time I've actually ever even done that. So there are many, many things that we can learn from this. One, this is the second or third time just in the last 2 months I said, here's something they say is going to happen, here's a scare tactic. But whenever I hear that, when anyone reaches out and says, I heard this, what do you think of this? I go take a 7-mile walk and go into meditation, and then I might even come out and pull cards, and then I might pull out the dowsing rods, and then I'll see what it really is. And then as soon as I experience it, however I experience it first, because I usually hear it first. Sometimes I see it and hear it before I feel it. But I think it's helpful for you to know what's going on with people around you. So NPCs could maybe have a heart attack or something. Now, I'm not saying, again, the NPCs are different, right? So we all have that program, just like, your family is all different, right? So there's a group of us that believes that it's highly important to drink water and move the body every day, right? There's a million NPCs that know that same thing too, right? So you can't just judge that by that. There are some very physically healthy ones as well. But what I am getting to is that spiritually they're not going to change because it's not within them, that point of evolution. And again, this group of beings was designed basically to have more people on the planet and to be slave labor. If I'm only running on a 3D program, I'm just going to get married and stay in that situation no matter what. I'm going to go get a job and climb the corporate ladder or climb a stripper pole or whatever it is I decide to do. Because one of the things about NPCs is you'll notice that their priorities are very different from everyone else's. Now, a lot of humans get caught up in this game of keeping up with the Joneses, or the game of stocks, bonds, commodities, and there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. What I'm saying is you'll usually notice that taking care of themselves financially, or getting ahead, or working up the corporate ladder, or working 80 hours a week, whatever, these things will be more important than raising their own children or being in a happy marriage or things like that. So I'm telling you, NPCs will not be affected in their consciousness. The consciousness will not expand from radio waves, from solar energy, from galactic pulses, electromagnetic pulses. They are not going to change. They are going to stay the same. So if you're, giving out a whole lot of energy to that, save the energy for the people who want and need your assistance. So physically, yes, they can have a meltdown on these energies just like the rest of us can, okay? But mentally, consciously, they will not be changed by solar energy or any electromagnetic upgrade, DNA upgrade. None of that will be the same. Yes. So how do we say goodbye to who we used to be, is the question. One of the things right now, in order to be in alignment with the energy of miraculous healing, we have to be able to listen to our intuition to the point where we're overriding the monkey mind. It's very, very, very difficult for us to do. The amount of people I've talked to just in the last 3 months that, initially will tell me I don't talk to higher self, or I don't have angelic guidance or whatever. And it's like, but I know they get intuitive hits because I can read people from 1,000 miles away. It's like, are you getting intuitive hits? Yes. Are you doing anything with them? No. Because when they come through initially, they may not make sense. I say this all the time: jump rope, butterfly, yardstick. Well, that means nothing. Why would my higher self tell me that? But if you're not looking at that and not looking up what those things mean symbolically, right? So I hear butterfly, jump rope, and I don't look up the symbolism of butterfly or jump rope. It's not going to expand anything else. So I think, oh, okay, well, I must be hearing the collective consciousness, or maybe I'm tired, or maybe I didn't have enough coffee today, or whatever. Maybe my blood sugar's low. They blow it off onto something else. But if they were to actually look up what does jump rope and butterfly, what's the symbolism of that, they'd be like, oh, wow, that's a message. And you write that down, and the messages keep getting expanded to where they come in one after another. But it doesn't do anything if you don't trust yourself. So if you have intuition, but you're not acting on it, or you're not using it, you're not strengthening that, right? That's like saying, I want to be the best volleyball player ever, but I'm just going to watch, volleyball videos, Olympic volleyball videos, but I'm never going to go outside and hit some balls. But it's never going to happen. And the amount of people that tell me they're not connected to the higher self, and then in talking to them, I know that they are connected and they're getting intuitive hits, but they're afraid to act on those intuitive hits. And again, intuition is a muscle, not literally, but, metaphorically. Your intuition is a muscle. And so then when we don't use our intuition, we have a lot of anxiety. Like, was that intuitive hit for a purpose? What is the purpose of it? Now, let me give you an example of this. Don't let this make you too angry. I've always been a morning person. So in the days of setting an alarm, which I haven't done in, I couldn't even tell you, I haven't set an alarm in probably 5 years. I just get up. But in the days of setting the alarm would go off, both feet be on the floor, I'd be smiling, thank you for a beautiful day on planet Earth. Up, stocking the coffee pot and putting away dishes and straight out of bed, straight into happy motion, right? I stopped doing that about, I would say, maybe a year and a half ago. And what I realized is sometimes you can get lucky enough when you're drifting off to sleep, where your body will start to fall asleep before your consciousness is asleep, right? Well, your consciousness is never asleep, but you're aware of your consciousness floating into another realm, and you start getting messages. Like when we sleep, we dream, and that's what those dreams are as well, but we usually don't remember them. What I've discovered is if you lay in bed without the television, without any music, without your phone, without anything, as you're drifting off, you go into this land of wisdom, I guess would be a good word for it, and you pick up all kinds of amazing things that you wouldn't pick up on falling asleep with your phone or meditation music or the television on or whatever. But I noticed it's even way more conducive in the morning. But it's very jumbled, and it may seem just like dreams sometimes where it doesn't make sense. So let me give you an example. Instead of just jumping out of bed, stocking the coffee pot, and putting away the dishes, and doing whatever, straight out of bed, which is what I've always done, I will lay in bed for about 40 minutes to an hour after I woke up, and I will not move. I will stay in that realm where I'm completely conscious of everything I'm being shown. So just to give you a silly example, how higher stuff, how spirit drops things into you. I'd been laying there awake for maybe 20 minutes, and all of a sudden I saw like the biggest Amazon Prime truck you could ever imagine, right? So there's no context to the dream, there's no words, there's no background. I didn't see the Amazon truck driving down the street or stopping at my door and telling me they had a package. It was just a huge Amazon truck driving, like just sitting there in complete darkness. And I thought, wow, Amazon Prime, that's huge. And then the truck disappeared, and then there was a cute little frog sitting there, and I'm like, Amazon Prime frog, I don't get it. And I was like, I remember when I saw the Amazon truck, the first thing I said, oh, that's huge. And then frog, but I'm like, what does it mean? And I was like, oh, huge leap, ding, 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 but that's how we're shown things. So if we don't ever think about the symbolism, like, I mean, you in your brain could go a million different ways with frogs. You could say, my Prince Charming is no longer going to be a frog. He's going to turn into a prince, whatever. So whatever comes to you intuitively is the right answer. So in that in-between time, you probably don't even need to look it up. Like I said, I saw the Amazon truck and I'm like, wow, that's a huge Prime truck. And then I saw the frog and I was like, Prime frog? Oh no, huge leap. And I was like, that's it, a huge leap. For consciousness, it meant something very specifically for me, but for all of you, it means a huge leap in consciousness and a huge leap in a time of incredible miracles. But we have to be able to listen to our intuition. right? And a big part of that intuition is our body's own internal feminine energy. And that feminine energy, I probably don't need to keep saying this for the rest of my life. Obviously, we all have feminine and masculine energy. I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. But that feminine energy is kind of like the sun is masculine, right? So that's ejection, that's action, that's, outward, right? The moon, our feminine, our intuitive energy, is very inward. It's very attractive. It's a magnet, right? But what it's a magnet to is our thoughts. So if you're getting an intuitive hit and then saying, well, I can't act on this, then you get in all this anxiety. And those intuitive hits won't be like, hey, Tina, move to Turkey, because trust me, I was thinking about it very heavily last week. But it's not going to start out with something like that. It's going to be like, it's going to tell you things that don't make any sense. Okay, let me give you an example. I was getting ready to go somewhere one time, and my intuition was like, take your phone charger and your toothbrush. And I stopped and I'm like, I don't need a phone charger, a toothbrush. I'm just going to work or wherever it's just going. I'm only going to be gone for 3 hours. Well, something happened. There was a hellacious storm. The power went out. I got stuck somewhere with no toothbrush and no phone charger. So I learned to just listen to that, because intuition, most of the time, unless it's something that you've been intuiting for many months or many years, then yes, you're going to be aware of that. But when that intuition pops up and says, Tina, grab your toothbrush and your phone charger before you get in the car, and you say to yourself, there's no logical reason I need a toothbrush to be gone 3 hours or a phone charger. That's just crazy. So then you blow it off, right? So when we're in our intuitive power, our feminine energy, attracting in that truth, attracting in what is the next step. And it's not, hey, get a plane ticket and fly to Turkey and never come back, because it's really, really, really freaking tempting right now. Okay. I've been watching between Turkey and Greece. I'm not sure. It's undecided. Neither here nor there. Spirit's not going to show up. Higher self's not going to show up and say, hey, buy a ticket and go to Greece by yourself, right? It's going to start out small. Okay. It's going to start out with, hey, go through storage, get rid of what you don't need. Make sure you have your phone charger today. But again, if we think about it like a muscle, we're not listening to it. I just got in the habit of not second guessing it, because every time I get little intuitive hits like that, I would second guess it. In fact, one night I was driving on a highway ramp that was in a complete circle. And I'm on that ramp. Obviously, it's, an exit with an entrance to 71 South here. And my intuition just yanked the car over all the way over to the guardrail. And I was like, what am I doing? Pulling over this guardrail, somebody's going to hit me from behind. And not even a millisecond after I pulled over, somebody came drunk up the exit ramp, coming in to the entrance ramp, coming up the exit ramp, right directly, would have smashed right at me. But my intuition said, move over. And I moved over, and I just panicked for a second. Like, why would I do that? And half a second later, that car came right at me and would have totaled my car and probably killed me, because they were drunk. They were on the total wrong side of the highway, and they were coming up the wrong side of the ramp. But we all have those little things that happen to us every day that say, get your charger, take your toothbrush, phone that person you haven't spoken to in a year, whatever it is. And we have to strengthen that and really listen to that, because it's getting to the point now where it's causing a lot of anxiety for the people that are not listening to that, okay? And so the thing about that is you need to be your own official person. Not that we don't need parents or friends or family or anything. But right, the human brain says, well, I really want to make this move to Turkey. Let me check with my neighbors. Let me call my mom. Let me call, my 6 closest Facebook friends. No. We need to start being our own authority. right? So by the time you've decided you want to do something crazy, like I said, move to Turkey or Greece, you want to have decided that you're going to do that, right? I'm going to do that. I'm the official person. I'm the person that makes these decisions in my life. It's me. I'm that person. So by the time I've told my neighbor or my mom or whatever, I'm already doing it. I'm just calling to give you the good news. I'm not calling to say, what do you think about me going to Greece by myself? What do you think about me moving to Turkey, right? I know the reactions I would get. I don't tell people things until I know what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that I don't ever ask for advice, because I've asked for advice from many of you guys. But make sure that you're listening. If you're not building that muscle of intuition, you're not listening to yourself. That's where all this anxiety comes in. I'm not the person, right? Like, and I talked about this a lot in the last video about dealing with doctors and lawyers and judges and all that. No, you be your own official person, right? And not that we don't have to deal with doctors or lawyers or whatever, but we don't have to take what they say for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you very much for giving me your information. Now it's the information that I have, and I can do whatever I want with it. Do I want to heal myself? Do I want to move to Greece? I am my own official person, right? There's a lot of confusion because and I feel like I've been talking about eclipses forever, but when the eclipse comes, it brings things that are buried or in the shadows to the light. That is so that we can change that thing. But we've got a lot of people sitting at the crossroads going, should I do what's right, according to other official people outside of my life, right? Should I ask the judge, can I move to Greece? Should I ask my parents? Do you think I can heal myself? Whatever it is. So when we're in this energy, when we're sitting at any kind of crossroads, whether that's you deciding what kind of bread you want to buy at the store or anything else, right? Am I going to get gluten-free? Am I going to buy hot dog buns? Whatever it is, right? That's a crossroad, a small one, right? But that's still a crossroad. Your intuition knows what to do, right? What's good for you, what you want to do. But you sit there and you debate it because am I worth it? Am I going to spend the money on the gluten-free bread, right? I'm just saying that's an example of the crossroad. The crossroads we're going through right now for you and I individually, of course, are way bigger than that. The point is, you intuitively know which bread to buy, right? You intuitively know that maybe it's time to move, or cut your parents off, or not be friends with your best friend of 30 years because they're just, you're like oil and water and you don't speak the same language anymore. Whatever your crossroads is. This is a time of miracles. This is a time of pulling in and creating from those other energies, from all of these energies, right? So 30 years worth of solar energy came through our sun on October 19th. I think actually, intuitively, I'm going to tell you it came through on the 18th, and they scrambled a little bit about what to say that would partially jive with most of humanity's reading level, but not send quantum physicists like in the other direction going, none of this makes sense, right? So I saw them like sitting on it. So I believe it happened on October 18th. But nevertheless, in this energy of miracles, we have to be able to use our intuition and say goodbye to who we were. Because if we sit there knowing what we want to do or knowing what the right thing to do, or it's not a matter of right and wrong, it's a matter of what's right for me, right? Not right, what's right for you, what's right for me, what's right for us may not be right for someone else. But when we're sitting at a crossroad in the grocery store deciding which bread or which, husband to pick, or whether I want to go to Greece or Turkey, whatever crossroads you're sitting at, you have to use the intuition because this energy, these solar eclipses, they're about saying goodbye to things that no longer serve us and going in a different direction. But you see, if we're not using our intuition at this time, right? And then how appropriately timed is this? I mean, right? If you don't believe there is a source of all creation, I don't know what to say to you. Because between October 14th and October 28th, right? And somewhere close to in the middle, kind of in the middle of that, we had 30 years worth of solar emissions come through in a millisecond, in a fraction of a moment, right? So we're already at this energy of crossroads. Every single person on this planet that is connected to source or their ancient self as a soul, we're all at a crossroads, no matter what that crossroads is. But these energies that come in through the sun, no matter where the inception point is or the origin is, they are here to push us into that miracle space that says, I can use this intuition and I can create something, right? So in our psychic ability, we can just sit around and say, well, I see all these things and I hear all these things and I know the right thing to do, but am I talking about it? Am I acting about it? Am I acting out on it? Am I taking action? I've been saying for weeks, are you acting on your intuition? 42 and 24, right? Usually in a relationship dynamic of some sorts, you've got a 42 and you've got a 24. You got one person that's got all this intuition and they're acting on it, and the other person is vice versa. One's 24 and one's 42. 42 is action. Okay, so 4 is action, stability, planning. But what are you planning on? You're planning on 2. 2 is intuition. That's your crossroad. What am I going to do? Am I going to listen to my intuition? Am I going to plan? Am I going to make a change or plan or do this thing acting on my intuition? 24 and 42. One of us is on one side and one of us are on the other, and we all fall in that category depending on where we are in that. But come on, 30 years of solar emissions in a millisecond, that is another energy that, so the eclipses push us to make changes, right? Push us to bring these things to light that are in the shadow in our personal lives and on the world stage, as I've been saying for the last 2 months, okay? So when that emissions comes in from 30 years of solar stuff, it's not just about trying to push you off the seat of indecision. Am I going to listen to my intuition or am I going to just do the 3D thing? And like I said, even if it's something that as simple as, okay, for whatever unknown, mysterious reason, I have to have my toothbrush and my phone charger on me at all times today. Okay, fine, I'm going to do it. But if we can't even listen to ourselves, on little things, how are we going to listen to ourselves on big things, right? So this energy is not necessarily to get you to push you to say, oh my gosh, how much longer are you going to sit there and not act on your intuition? That's part of it. But man, this was I have never, ever seen, heard, or felt anything like this. And I have never made a video. I have made probably 100 videos saying, I heard something, I saw something, there's going to be some sort of X-class flare or some sort of soul or something in about 48 hours. I've done that many, many times, probably 50 times since this channel's been on here, if you guys have been following me for a while. But never, ever, ever have I come to you and said, I have heard something and seen something so big, it'll be here in the next 3 weeks, and had this kind of confirmation. Because as I love to tell you, our body is the most advanced technology on this planet, okay? So if you're like, oh, I just saw something and then I'm checking the Schumann and it's been 4 days and I got nothing. They're not reporting that accurately anymore. That's a big part of the problem. A lot of these places, I think Russia, Australia, a lot of the places are purposely taking them offline when there's really big energetic things because so many thousands, maybe millions of people are watching them now. So part of that is in this high emissions energy, some of those facilities are actually malfunctioning. Some of them are being turned off because of the amount of people watching and talking and speculating what these particular bursts of energy or electromagnetic pulses or frequencies actually are. And then we have the problem of kind of a sensory overload because when these some of the things instruments are using are 100 or 130 years old, and they're simply not meant to register things over a certain amount of hertz anyway, right? Couple that with the suppression and everything else. Again, we're right back to acting on intuition and using intuition to take action. So 42 and 24, there's your numerology lesson for the day. I smacked my phone. I have no Italian in me, but I surely moved my hands like an Italian, and that time I jacked the camera and it almost knocked it over. So, not everybody's going to be affected by this. A lot of people were affected by this. There was a lot of screaming in this neighborhood, and after this, I'm trying to think. Let me see when that. Let me look and see when that was here. Wow, that's a trip. So anyway, according to them, right, he rolled in on the 19th. Like I said, they took a day to kind of get their story together, if you will, like you would do, if you'd committed a crime and you're going in for, to tell your story, right? Took them a day to get their story straight. Very ironic. So I'm just looking at the calendar. I write the weirdest things down to jot my memory, because around, I would say, it was right around the 18th or 19th that things became extremely, extremely intense. There were fire trucks, ambulance, and police, I would say about every 10 minutes for 4 days. That started on the 18th or 19th. It just finally started to dissipate like 2 days ago. Okay, so that went on for many days. Also, I was at the grocery store and I asked the clerk for something, and I literally thought she was going to drop kick me and the police were going to be called. I literally thought I was going to have to use some jujitsu on her or something. I don't even know that. I don't know that sport. Anyway, I could run really far, really fast for about a mile at least anyway. But I mean, and I was super polite. Everybody's super, super, super on edge. And remember what I'm telling you. Even if you have an NPC, right, doesn't mean they're not agitated, right? Doesn't mean, they don't have high blood pressure or heart condition or whatever. Like I'm saying, they're physically the same as us. Their DNA is not the same as us, okay? And I'm not saying this so you treat anybody differently. I'm literally telling you that yes, while the program is running, walking, talking, chewing gum, and playing its game, it looks and sounds just like us. But if you ever try to go below the surface level of the programming, and this is different than people that are ingrained in programming. The people that are ingrained in programming, you may talk to them, but you will know, you'll feel an energy or see a look on their face or a look in their eye or whatever, that you've sparked something. There's a little bit of interest, even if they're super confused by you. These NPCs will not be sparked by you. They will not be changed by you. They will not be catalyzed by you. Nothing. They will not be catalyzed by 30 years worth of emissions coming through the sun in a millisecond. Only physically, not consciously. So I wanted you to know that. It's important that we're listening to our intuition. When we don't listen to our intuition, it gets anxiety, right? So it starts out as something simple. I know I should, make this decision about something, right? And then it's 6 months later. Oh my gosh, I know I should make this decision about something. The anxiety grows, it gets worse, it gets worse, it gets worse, it gets worse. You've got to be your own official person, right? Doesn't mean we don't need help, like I said, from doctors, from lawyers, from, whoever, publicists, PR people, whatever you need. But you need to have made your decision before you go to a lawyer, right? You need to decide what you want before you seek adjudication, okay? You need to decide what your invention is before you go to a patent. You need to be your own official person. It's really, really important, because the more these energies amp up, the more who knows, right? So these kind of emissions that they wrote about on October 19th, they didn't even spot until 2007. Okay, so this is a very, very new thing for them. And also them trying to figure out how to talk to us about it when we have more people paying attention to the energy now than we ever had on the planet is a whole other story. So when reading that, take that with a grain of salt as well. And I will put that here, but just keep in mind, there wasn't a whole lot of truth to it other than what I told you, at least That's what I gathered. So 30 years worth of solar emissions in a millisecond. That sounds like the event to me. Does it not sound like the event to you? Maybe you've been hearing sirens or noticed people acting crazy or all of that other stuff. So the thing I want to tell you about the energy right now is, before I'm on here for 12 hours again, your golden opportunity right now is that when you start saying yes to your intuition, yes, I am the authority in my life. My intuition has been saying this for 6 months or 3 years or 3 minutes or whatever it is for you. As soon as you line up with what your intuition is giving you, or start, 42 to 24, acting on that intuition and intuitively acting, things are going to change at the fastest possible rate you can ever imagine. Okay, you're going to be moving, relocating, going on vacation. Your career is going to totally change. Everything is going to happen. All of these energies are nothing more than an invitation or a power backing you up, right? If you're praying to angels or God or whatever you believe in, doesn't matter to me, right? The prayer goes to the same place and is heard by the same energy and is responded to by that quantum field, no matter who it is you believe you're talking to. That's coming back to you. But with these eclipses, this energy, and 30 years worth of emissions coming through the sun in a millisecond, that's saying what might take you a year to do, or 30 years to do, or 6 hours at the table to do, is not going to take that long. It's going to be instantaneous when you decided to listen to and act on your intuition, right? Because if your intuition's been telling you something for weeks, and then weeks turns into months, and months has been a year, maybe it's been 2 years, okay? The anxiety gets more and more and more intense. I should have done this 6 months ago. I should have done this 2 years ago. I should have, whatever it is for you. And I just want to tell you that things are going to happen very immediately, very prominently, very, very sped up, right? The second you decide to start listening to your intuition, you're going to be blown away. And I'm sorry, guys, I haven't looked at who's here or read a single comment. I have the music on. I had to keep myself in a zone. There have been so many family funerals that I actually went to help set up chairs at 10 o'clock this morning and work in the kitchen and stuff like that, because the funeral wasn't till 2, so I was gone from 9:15 until 5. So I needed my I wanted to get this information to you in the last 4 or 5 days. There's just been a whole lot going on here, so I needed to put my music on and be very calm and be very centered, because the whole funeral thing in my family is just over the top. We're ready to start planning some weddings, and I actually am planning my niece's wedding. That's actually a little less than a year from now. Thank you to the 200 or so of you who reached out to me on Facebook to wish me a happy birthday. That was amazing, and I loved it. Unfortunately, the way Facebook is, I have to sit there for an hour. It only shows me 2 at a time. I have to keep hitting see more, and I'm like, this is crazy. I can't keep doing this. I was like hitting the see more button for 2 hours so that I could interact with everyone that wished me happy birthday. So let's skip it and just say thank you for that here. And the last thing about this energy, and about using your intuition, and about not getting stuck in the anxiety, is one thing that is super, super important. When you have made yourself that official person and made that decision, right? Tell your best friend, call your mother, whatever. But do it after you've made the decision. And things that are really close to you, really intimate to you, really secretive to you. And what I don't mean secretive, I mean like if I'm going to move to Greece, right? I'm not going to tell everybody that I'm moving to Greece until, that plan's about to happen. That's me. because I'm the official person. But whatever your secrets, whatever your desires, whatever your passion, whoever feels like family, whatever. And this is always important. And in this energy, it's really important. And the funeral thing brings this to me to light many times. And as many of you know, last year, almost to the day, I died on the operating table and had to be Narcaned 4 times to come back to life. And when I found that out, I started kind of like wrapping up the end of my year by telling people how I thought, whether they didn't want to respond, whether they didn't reciprocate, whatever, I did it anyway. So what I'm saying is, in this fast energy, in this catalytic energy, in this energy where we are being invited into the land of miracles and jobs and relationships and relocation, it's time to tell the people that mean the most to us, the closest to us, our secrets. You don't know how long you're going to be around. This was my brother-in-law who died today. He was 57, I'm pretty sure. And his brother, my sister's husband, died at 44. So there's no reason not to tell people how you feel. And the death thing brings that up for me, but also that brought that up for me. My surgery was on I believe it was today. I can't remember if it was the 29th or the 30th of October. I was so drugged up when I was in there, but it was almost a year ago today. Those people that mean the most to you, that you can confide in, that feel like family, that feel like home, that feel like that intimate person, whether it's, your neighbor, your parents, who it is. It's really important to express ourselves. And this is another place where we get caught up in our head. Oh, I'm going to tell my neighbor this. Well, the neighbor might think what if the neighbor thinks I'm crazy? What if my parents think I'm cuckoo? What if I tell this person and they don't reciprocate? Life is short. Does it really matter what anybody else thinks of you? So I'm going to leave it on that note. The moment you decide to trust yourself, to make yourself the official person, to divulge your secrets, your desires, what you really want out of life, what you really see for yourself in this moment and going forward into the future, tell those people that matter the most. Because you never know if you'll have a chance later. And why do we hold everything in anyway, right? Our golden opportunity is listening to our intuition. When we don't, it brings about anxiety. All we have to do is listen to it. When we listen to it, we work with this energy. People say, well, no, all I need to do is God will change my whole life if I just have faith in God or faith in Buddha or Muhammad or whoever it is, doesn't matter. My life will change. Other people say, no, it's all about me. I don't believe in any external reality helping me. The universe has not got my back. It never has. It's both. It's you working hand in hand, vibration and vibration, with God, with Source, with Buddha, with Muhammad. I don't care who it is. Shiva, it doesn't make a difference, right? Ganesh, doesn't matter who it is you're working with. It's your energy and that universal energy of all the beings of our ancestors that came before us that are here to assist us. But it's never me doing it on my own. And it's never God doing it on his own for me. If he wants things to change in my life, he will. I'm telling you now, say what you want, do what you want, be who you really are, and watch your life change instantaneously, because 30 years worth of solar emissions in a millisecond is telling you that's the momentum Source is giving you to move forward into your life and base your life on love and joy and beauty. And I'm not doing anything else but those things anymore. Thank you for being here.